Hey, Marjorie Greene, glad that you're tuning into the show. I have been very critical of you in the past, implying, admittedly based on what you've said and done, that you don't seem like a particularly curious person. You don't seem like a lifelong learner. You seem to be very confident in your ignorance about a number of different topics, and yet you are tuning into this program, which shows a willingness, albeit potentially just briefly, to expose yourself to other perspectives and perhaps learn something. Now, how do I know that the representative is watching? Well, she tweeted about us yesterday and did a little review. Generally, I prefer these reviews to come in the form of like iTunes or something like that, but I'll take it. I'll take it in a tweet. Sorry, an X. Anyway, she X'd this. I just watched the damage report for the first time. Maybe for the first time. We can't confirm or deny that. Okay, maybe. These two admitted atheists, that's me and Francesca Fiorentini, are attacking President Trump about his Christian faith while claiming to hold moral beliefs. Now, there's a lot that Marjorie Greene brings up in this, so we're gonna have to take it one bit at a time. I love that she like focuses on the fact that we're atheists as if we didn't lead in that, as if she did investigative reporting or something. Yes, I'm an atheist. I've said that many times on the show. Francesca has as well. We don't find that to be a bad thing, a shameful thing at all. I don't know why you think that that's helping you win an argument, but okay. To be clear, we did not attack President Trump about his Christian faith. It is impossible for us to do that because I don't believe he has Christian faith. We were criticizing him for condescending to Christians who look up to and support him. That's what we were doing. We took a guy who once again showed a complete lack of ability or willingness to even pretend to think seriously about Christianity, Jesus, or God, to be asked a question by a woman, a conservative woman who clearly cares a lot about religion, and he spins this nonsensical couple of paragraphs about his legal troubles, not even able to fake being a true Christian. We were not attacking his Christian faith. We were standing up for conservative Christians who we might disagree with on a lot of different stuff, but we think they at least deserve to not be lied to by obvious charlatans. And by the way, Marjorie Greene, I have no doubt that you are more, at least on some level, in some form, committed to Christianity than Donald Trump is. It would be impossible for almost anyone not to be. But the fact that you could watch his response and not have a problem with it, that you could see all of the different ways that he's comported himself throughout his life, and the fact that you don't have a problem with that, I think that's something that should bother regular conservative Christians as well. And we're gonna turn to the other stuff that you brought up because you apparently were watching for some time. But Adrienne, I'm not sure if you're familiar with the response from Trump, but we've seen this in the past where he's asked simple stuff like, which do you prefer, the Old or the New Testament? And he doesn't even care enough to pretend to have an answer to it.
Yeah, you know what? I really would have thought that the whole 2 Corinthians thing would have signaled to people that this individual may not necessarily be as committed to their walk with Christ as they profess to be. But it seems like people want to continue to be stuck on stupid. I just really don't understand how individuals who subscribe to this whole evangelical Christian ideology can't recognize someone who doesn't. Who isn't walking the walk, who isn't talking the talk, but is largely looking for ways to fill their coffers, is looking for cosign, for votes, for all sorts of things that'll get voters to support and uplift them, but not actually engaging in any of the things that are indicia of Christianity. It's so incredibly clear. It's just, I don't know, it's so gaslighty, wrong, lying. I would almost think Judas is far more Christian than Donald Trump, but that's just me.
Yeah, look, by the way, it's not like Christians weren't warned. The idea that some sort of like false savior could come up is in their like sacred books, not in mine. And when that false savior rises up, what are we supposed to believe? That they're not gonna have any acolytes defending them? No, they're gonna be other religious grifters who are apologizing for their vicious tendencies and immoral values. I'm not pointing any fingers at members of Congress or anything. I'm just saying if I were a conservative Christian, I'd have a problem. And the problem wouldn't be with me, a guy who is 100% transparent about my religious values as well as my political values. I'd be more worried by the people who clearly only worship money, status, wealth, power, but pretend to give a damn about the religion that you hold so dear. We're gonna move on to our next comment. They only attacked Trump and Republicans and never defended any Democrat policies. So first of all, yes, in that segment, we didn't focus on Democrat policies because we were responding to him answering the question. We weren't breaking down his platform, which he barely has anyway. Do we sometimes defend Democrat policies? Sure. But I love that sentence from you, Marjorie Greene, because it demonstrates once again an area of ignorance that you can perhaps move past. You seem to be laboring under the delusion that our show is just blindly supportive of the Democrats. Now, I get why you would believe that. There are a lot of shows that are, in the same way that there are a lot of shows that are blindly supportive of whatever the Republicans do. Do you understand that that's not the way that it has to be? That we can actually take a look at what people do, the promises they make, where they make good in it, where they fall short, evaluate the actual policies and what effect they're likely to have later on, what effect they have actually had, and then decide on a case-by-case basis whether we support something. Do you get that in principle, that's the way that it could work? I do sometimes support the Democrats, but not all the time. You probably think that I love Joe Biden or whatever. Do you get that I don't? That lots of progressives are not actually gigantic fans of the establishment Democrats? Is that not a thing that you can grasp?
Check out the Damage Report podcast each day, wherever you get your podcasts, whether Pocket Casts or Stitcher or iTunes. You can join me as I give you the news and stories you want, with a range of co-hosts and interview guests jumping in on the fun each day. Again, that's the Damage Report, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you get them at iTunes, don't forget to rate and review. Sometimes I'll read them live on the show.